Pucatraders, what's happening? My name is Wilson, and we are doing a Legacy Cube draft. And, well, if you didn't just see me do that, we opened this guy. His name is Jace the Mind Sculptor. He's okay. He's a Planeswalker. He's got 4 abilities. He costs 2 blue blue, and, he's a guy. We're going to take him. He's okay. He's an okay guy. No, he's insane. Jace is the best card, not just in Cube, but getting up there in just Magic, like just the best card in Magic. Definitely can be considered in the top 10. If we're talking about Power 9 here, like maybe top 15, but it's still definitely way up there. But we got to focus at the task at hand and not just over our first pick, Jace, because we're so lucky. We have to pick other cards in this cube. We have to pick enough cards to make a deck to go around Jace. So what is good to go around Jace? Well, Preordain is pretty good to go around Jace. So is Rowzeric. Moloku is fine. You can return the cards, return lands from Moloku, put them in your hand, use the Jace Brainstorm, put them on top of your deck, and then, maybe shuffle your deck away with, cards that shuffle. I'm going to take Preordain here. Rowzeric is very good, but, Preordain, that's one of the better cantrips in Magic. So we're going to start with one of the best cards in Magic and one of the best cantrips in Magic. And, just continue making just the best deck possible. All right. Another very good cantrip is Gataxan Probe, but I don't think we're going to want that. Steam Vents is very good. We can also consider things like Hymn to Turok, Avalanche Riders is pretty good. I like CGN Commander. But I think the card to pick here is Steam Vents. It is an island, so, in case we get something like, I don't know, Vidalcan Shackles, we can play red cards while still playing islands. It's also, if we get something like a Bloodstained Mire, we'll be able to search this out. Steam Vents is a very good card. And picking up Mana Fixing here, while there's not really anything that's like, wow, like we should be taking a Jace in this pack. Like Gataxan Probe is, I think, very good, but not as good as an early Steam Vents. And so now we can start, valuing red cards a little bit higher. Red cards kind of like Thundermaw Hellkite. Thundermaw is very, very good. But there are other cards in this pack. There's also an Archangel of Thune and a Sun Titan. Talrand is pretty fine. There's also some lands in here. Temple of Milady and Temple of Skrylance. Also some black cards, Languish, Rotting Rats, Slaughter Pact. I really do like a Thundermaw Hellkite. Sometimes it's just like, just 5 mana, do 5 damage to you. It also has great capabilities where, like, if they play, like, Lingering Souls, this was an answer to Lingering Souls. When they would flash it back, they would have 4 Lingering Souls tokens. You just slam a Thundermaw Hellkite, and game over. Deal you 5, kill your 4 guys, next game. So I like Thundermaw Hellkite. It is just a guy, just a big guy, but, like, I'm pretty down with that. All right, so we have a pretty tough pick here between Prophetic Bolt, which I think is a great card. 5 mana, deal 4 damage to target creature or player, and then you get to look at the top 4 cards and put one of them into your hand. Rest go on the bottom in any order. But you get to look at the top 4 cards of your deck. You realize that with a cube deck, you're only running 40 cards, so you're actually looking at 10% of your deck. It's even more because at that point, you're at like 20 cards, and now you're looking at a huge percentage of your deck. I think Prophetic Bolt is very good. Arid Mesa is also the next consideration here, as it does fetch out Steam Vents, and it also will help us maybe splash white. I don't know. I'm going to take this Prophetic Bolt because I think Prophetic Bolt is very, very good. All right. Here, there's a Seagate Oracle. There's a Force Spike. Gorehouse Chainwalker is not really what we want to be doing. Chrome Mox, I don't think is what we really want to be doing. I kind of want to be playing things like Mox Diamond if we're going to be playing Mana Acceleration that will, put us back in card advantage. So I kind of am thinking something like Seagate Oracle, or, probably just Seagate Oracle. It's really between Seagate Oracle and Chrome Mox. We are getting card advantage with Preordain, Jace the Mind Sculptor, and Prophetic Bolt, so this Chrome Mox may not be that much of a hindrance. But I'm going to take the Chrome Mox just for that reason that, maybe it's not so much a hindrance because we are valuing card advantage a little higher than we probably would. Uh, yeah, I'm taking Chrome Mox. I mean, being able to play Jason Mind Sculptor on turn 3 is kind of bananas. Speaking of bananas, there's a couple of there's a bunch of cards that we could pick out of here. Some like Geist of St. Traft, very good card. It's 3 mana, very hard to deal with, very hard to get rid of with spells. You're gonna have to tussle with it in combat. But unchecked, it's a 3 mana 6/6. Like 3 mana 6/6. That's huge. I'm gonna take. I think I'm gonna take this Geist. Maybe go red, blue, white. Little Jeskai action. Yeah, we could definitely take a plateau. I think it's better than something like Unexpectedly Absent. Koth of the Hammer is one of my favorite cards. Dismember is a very efficient removal spell. But I'm going to take this plateau. It allows us to play Geist, as well as playing things like Prof Bolt and Thunder Monhel Kite. And yeah, I mean, even if we're just like using this to splash the white, it's very, very good. Speaking of very, very good, I kind of like Lightning Helix. Like, we're kind of this like kind of aggressive yet controlling sort of deck. So like things like Lightning Helix is very, very good. Duplicant is also fine. I think I'm going to take the Lightning Helix. It's going to be a little hard to cast, and so we're going to have to start paying attention to pay attention. That's not real. Paying attention to picking up some lands that will help us in the future. Well, there's Greater Gargadon, so game. I don't know if I've ever passed Greater Gargadon. Well, I did in this first pack because we had to pick Jace. But it coming back is pretty big. I don't want a Ranger of Eos. We're not doing that. Johnny Goldmane is probably one of the worst Planeswalkers. It's definitely up there. It's not bad. It's not great. Firebolt is very good, actually. Would we take Firebolt over Gargadon? Probably not. We're going to put Gargadon right there. It'll be kind of like a mascot. Avalanche Riders is a very good card. Sometimes Avalanche Riders can be like an aggressive card. It can sometimes be a controlling card. Sometimes it can just be like a win condition, because like what happens if you like play your 3rd land, they play their 3rd land, you play their 4th land, you play Avalanche Riders, kill their land, and then they, were really hoping to like draw a 4th land, and suddenly you've just like set them back into the Stone Ages. Speaking of Stone Ages, I'm thinking I'm going to take this Archangel of Thune. Sometimes it can just get out of hand. Actually, you know what? I'm going to take this Dragonlord Dromoka. That can actually get out of hand. Speaking of out of hand, maybe Land Tax is where we want to be. I don't think Prophetic Flame Speaker is where we want, although it with Jace is quite good. It is double red. I'm going to take this Land Tax. It could also help us with some mana fixing if we get to that point. Let's see. Gorehouse, Chainwalker, or Chroma's Vengeance. I'm going to take this to Chroma's Vengeance. I'm going to put it in the board for right now, but I think it's okay. Mana Tithe. We didn't pick up Force Spike, so Force Spike is still floating around, but we got the Mana Tithe. Man, if we had both of them, insane. All right, speaking of insane. So with Dark Depths, what you do is you copy it with something like Thespian Stage, or you use Vampire Hexmage to remove all the counters. But if you clone it with Thespian Stage, and you keep the Thespian Stage clone of Dark Depths, it then has no ice counters on it. So then you get a 20/20 Merit Lage. It's a very good card, and there are some ways of like animating a land and then cloning the land and then getting the Merit Lage. I don't think we want to go here. I think we want Path to Exile, Impulse, Inferno Titan, not Boros Charm, maybe Blade Splicer, but it's one of these 3 for sure. Path to Exile plus Land Tax is quite a good little combo. I think I'm going to take the Path to Exile and just like really start to focus on some more aggressive creatures, maybe like Snapcaster Mage. Some like, well, okay, let's talk this through. Path to Exile is pretty good getting little things out of the way, so things like Geist of St. Traft can get through. Things like Avalanche Rider could possibly get through. I mean, Avalanche Rider and Path to Exile are not exactly, a combo. Land Tax is a combo with Path to Exile. But otherwise, we want to just be pushing things out of the way so our creatures can get in. Snapcaster Mage is going to let us do that twice. Also use Lightning Helix and Prophetic Bolt, and maybe even a Chroma's Vengeance. Also Preordain. Snapcaster Mage is kind of insane. Oblivion Ring is nice. I'd like to see this Clifftop Retreat come back. I always like a Precursor Golem. Yeah, Snapcaster Mage that is. All right. Well, there's a pretty scary card in this pack, which is Deceiver Exarch. We are playing red, so if we do pick up like a Splinter Twin or a Kikijiki, we would be able to, like infinite combo. Sensei's Divining Top is very, very good. We already have Jace. There's also a Karanos in this pack. And Karanos could be quite good, too. Especially for pulling out lands with things like land tax. I think right now, I don't think we're going to go with Exarch. I don't want to go with that plan, especially if there's two very good cards right here in this pack. This is a boring combo anyways. It's a boring conversation anyways. So it's between Top and Karanos. I'm going to take Top right now. Maybe we can wheel the Karanos, and then Top will be really good. Otherwise, Top is just very good by itself. Here's a Tundra. Tundra is kind of exactly what we want, because we do have things that require mana fixing, and it is a plains and an island. So far, we're doing pretty good with getting lands that are land types as well. There's also things like Deep Analysis and Burst Lightning, which are both very good cards, but I think Tundra right now is just the best possible card that we could have. And now we can pick up something like a Wooded Foothills or a Bloodstained Mire to search these out. However, the problem with these is that we're not picking either one of them. And it's kind of a bummer because we're picking Elspeth Knight Errant. And Elspeth is insane. This pack so far has been insane. Well, maybe not the Path to Exile. Like, I'd probably want Path to Exile around this part of the pack. But, like, we picked up Snapcaster Mage, Tundra, Elspeth. Like, that seems pretty good. I hope one of those fetch lands come back. We'd like either one of them. So let's see. This is a less exciting pack. There's Angel of Serenity, Porcelain Legionnaire, Waterfront Bouncer, some dorky red cards. I think because we're trying to be a little bit more aggressive, and just sort of the nature of what this deck is looking like, it might be actually Porcelain Legionnaire. Waterfront Bouncer is an interesting one. Like we can discard the lands that we get off land tax. We could also discard, imagine. No, that's kind of dumb. I was gonna say something along the lines of discarding an instant or sorcery and then using Snapcaster to get it back. We're gonna just take Porcelain Legionnaire here. It's pretty good. It's also a 2-drop 3/1, which is just great. All right, this is gonna be a tough one. I really like Warleader's Helix, although Sphinx's Revelation is completely insane. So especially with this type of deck, we're just getting value and playing things that will just win the game kind of on its own. I think Sphinx's Revelation is great. Oh goodness, it's all here. It's all here. I want Supreme Verdict. I want Riftwing Cloudskate. I want Face Fetters. I want it all. Well, we have Porcelain Legionnaire, Geist, and Snapcaster Mage is kind of our early drops. But, Supreme Verdict is very good. Riftwing Cloudskate is also quite good. Just being able to play it for 2. I think in combination with the Avalanche Riders, I think that the Riftwing Cloudskate is just a little backbreaking. So we'll take that. What is Dark Depth still doing here? That's a very good card. I was seriously considering taking it. What else animates lands in this set? Nissa. Nissa can animate lands. Not a whole lot else. But we got to think about that. I'm going to take Inferno Titan. This is another card that I just saw that I was like, I don't know why this is still in the pack. Inferno Titan is great. I'm not so sure about this Akroma's Vengeance, but we'll see. Clifftop Retreat Wield, which is great. I love picking that up. The Precursor Golem is kind of hard to let go. I like that card. It's 9 power for 5 mana. I'm in. Sold. Dualcaster Mage is actually one of the more interesting cards in the cube. Let's just imagine in a world where your opponents are playing things like prophetic bolts, or factor fictions. Being able to dual caster, get a 2/2, and then get your own factor fiction. Now, granted, you kind of want to clone something that is above its pay grade. So, like, let's say you're cloning something that's like Sphinx's Revelation, uh, where X is like 5. Like, that's great. I'm also going to take Secure the Waste. And speaking of another great card, Secure the Waste is awesome. I don't know if we'll play it, but neither of those fetches came back, which is kind of a bummer. I'm going to take the Student of Warfare, maybe Fleece Main Lion. Student of Warfare, I will kind of want my opponent dumping mana into that. I take this Massacre Worm. I don't want to play against that. Holy bananas. I was thinking about taking this card. What did I take instead? Sphinx's Revelation? Yeah, that was smart. So our deck looks like pretty great. And like, yeah, this looks like a great deck. I'm super thrilled. I'm also super thrilled for a Swords to Plowshares. There's not a whole lot else in here that I would take over Swords. Looter is maybe one. Seeing Sneak Attack go is a little scary. Same with Sundering Titan, because we do have all these lands that also double as, land types. But we're just going to take Swords to Plowshares. It's very good, especially in conjuncture with our Path to Exile, so I'm all for that. All right. Well, this is going to be a tough pick. We have Jace, Vryn's Prodigy, Jace the Mind Sculptor. We can have the creature Jace and Jace the Mind Sculptor out at the same time, but we can't flip Jace and then keep them both. There's also a Restoration Angel, which works very well with Snapcaster Mage, Riftwing Cloudskate, Avalanche Riders, Thundermaw Hellkite. I guess Geist of St. Traff, because they'll block and then you can just blink him. I think we're gonna take this Jace. I think Jace is very, very good, and now we can start flashing back things with Jace. Also, it's just like another Snapcaster Mage in our deck, plus a Looter, plus Jace. So we're gonna just take that and just be kind of mono Jaces. Well, we already have the Inferno Titan. Should we just cube draft and chill? There's also a Day of Judgment and a Dismiss. I kind of like Dismiss. We didn't pick up the Supreme Verdict, which I would kind of like a Wrath effect. But we already have a Chroma's Vengeance, so that's one. And I don't even know if we're going to play that. I think it's really between these three. I think I'm going to take the Frost Titan. Sometimes Frost Titan just wins the game. Although Dismiss is pretty good. I mean, it's the two versions of Cryptic Command that you want, and it's easier to cast. Day of Judgment is also pretty great. I'm going to take the Dismiss. I'm going to take the Dismiss because... so here's my thinking, is that we don't have much in the way of mana ramp. So, shoving our deck full of 6-drops is not exactly what I want. And we do have things like Secure the Waste that we do want to just kind of dump our mana into. And now things like Repeal, which we want to dump our mana into. It could be actually Ravages of War. Ravages of War. Magma Jet is also a very good card, and for sure worth considering. But I think it's Repeal here. It is just card advantage, and it just ends up 2-for-1ing opponent's things, which is just great. Well, we passed Sneak Attack. We're also passing Show and Tell. That's a little scary. I'm going to take this Izzet Charm and just kind of move along with our lives. There is also Stoke the Flames, which is, interesting. But, Izzet Charm is great. Like, it's Spell Pierce plus, Wild Slash plus, Careful Study. All stamped into one card. It's great. Careful Study? I don't know. There's a Sacred Foundry. If we didn't already have a Plateau, I would say that that's cool. There's also a Gilded Lotus, which I think may actually be the pick here. Being able to, like, Chrome Mox into a Gilded Lotus on turn 4, and then being able to, like, slam something like a huge Sphinx's Revelation to, kind of bring yourself back up, I think is great. I think we're going to take... Sacred Foundry... Maybe we don't need Gilded Lotus. Like, sure, we have some of these expensive cards here. We're at 25 cards already. I think I want the Sacred Foundry, actually. I don't think Gilded Lotus is the correct pick here. Just getting a little bit more mana fixing is kind of what I want. Well, we passed Dark Depths, so there's the Hex Mage, so someone can have that deck. That's fine. I, however, am looking at things like Stroke of Genius, Brimaz. Brimaz is kind of like Geist of Satan Trap, where he's just like an army in a can. It's a little easier to deal with, and he doesn't hit quite as hard. But I think it's going to be Brimaz. It is, we did pick up another Sacred Foundry, so that's, 4 of our 5 dual lands produce white. So I don't think this double white will be an issue. Yeah, we're going to take Brimaz there. Ooh, some very good cards here. There's an Into the Royal and a Banishing Light. I'm going to take this Into the Royal. It's another one that if you can pay 4, it is just a 2-for-1 where you get to draw a card. So we're just kind of all value here. All value all the time. What is Sneak Attack still doing in here? That doesn't make any sense at all. There's also a Char, Log War Marshal. I'm going to take the Sneak Attack. It's super scary. I don't even want to play against it. Dragon Lord Ojutai. What? 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 I don't understand. We're taking Dragon Lord Ojutai. Walking away. Elixir of Immortality is actually one that I think may be good and may have chances of making our main deck. I don't know. Dragon Lord Atarka is not something I want to play against. City of Brass may be something that we play with. I like that. Basilisk Collar is something that was left over in Grey Merchant, so I don't know. We don't really have to worry about those. All right. Well, all the double whites. I think we're going to take 8.5 tails. Don't really have any artifacts for them to steal or enchantments, so I'm not worried. A Kasali Pride Mage. Wonderful. Wonderful. All right. Well, let's see what's going on with this deck. So here's what I'm thinking. This is our 40-card deck. 17 lands, 3 mountains, 3 plains, 5 islands. Here are all of our dual lands here. And here's some of the decisions that I decided to make. I decided to cut Porcelain Legionnaire and Avalanche Riders, as well as Dualcaster Mage. 3 creatures. I guess Secure the Waste can be, spoken about here. I took these out. Avalanche Riders was the hardest one to take out. But I took these out because first of all, I needed to cut some cards. I couldn't see really anything that kind of screamed out to me, except for these creatures that, we have some army in a can type guys, and, some ones that can just really hit big. And then the ones that are, smaller generate card advantage. So with these guys, these were just kind of the outliers that, Dualcaster Mage, it's neither aggressive nor controlling. Porcelain Legionnaire, very aggressive, but, we kind of do want a late game with things like Sphinx's Revelation and, Repeals and Inferno Titans. And then Avalanche Riders was the hardest one because I have a soft spot in my heart for him. And, he sometimes can just win the game, but, sometimes you got to make some cuts. Secure the Waste is another one that, would have been really interesting with Snapcaster Mage or Jace Vryn's Prodigy to flash it back. Just generate a bunch of tokens, end of turn, end of their next turn, hit them for everything. End of turn, Snapcaster Mage, flashback, Secure the Waste, get a bunch more tokens, swing in again, and kind of, use that as like a double fireball. The last one was Land Tax, which I took out because Land Tax is just much better when you're on the draw than when you are on the play. You want your opponent to play their land first, then you play Land Tax, and then they're put into a really awkward situation. So on the draw, I'll be looking to board this in. But this is going to be our deck, and we'll see you all for round 1.